trapdoor mansion, high atop Tit Hill. It's We Talk Games Video Power Magazine, featuring Frank Hemlin, Horace Pengrove, William Bentley III, with Stinky the Game Master, TT Schmootkins, Tishka Honeypot, Alex Greenspan, and Cunt Cockbirth. And now We Talk Games! Here it comes! Yeah! We Talk Games!
Full of bullshit and energy.
Our focus always rambles off topic,
But we keep the format anyway.
TT Schmootkins, the robot sex bot. Stinky stinks so bad he smells.
We take turns choosing the games that we review.
Even Mario's Hotel. Come on, characters, nobody likes you. Let desire fuel your confidence.
Are you ready for Arcade Weekly?
Come on, we talking now! And we will go! Welcome to another episode of Arcade Weekly, the weekly arcade review from the folks at We Talk Games Video Power Magazine Arcade Weekly thing. I am Wiggly. On the Skype pipe, Kyle VonKubik.
I need more coffee! Sorry, I'm yelling to my wife.
Gotcha. In the booth, of course, as always, Mr. Onelay. Mr. Onelay, I need more coffee. He just gave me the finger.
Oh, that's a shame. Kona coffee's really good.
First he gave me the hang loose symbol, and then it somehow turned into the double bird.
It's pretty slick.
Yeah, very weird. Hey, Makuna Matata. No, what do you say? Did they say thank you?
Mahalo.
Yeah, mahalo.
Oh, man, we keep touching back on Hawaii, but what a wonderful place.
And, you know, I was watching Hawaii Five-0, well, again, the newer series, and I'm only in at like season 2 or something. Yeah. And they already had one of the stars of Chicago Fire on there, which I like Chicago Fire for some reason. My favorite girl from there they had on, she's like a consultant from the FBI or something, I think.
Dennis Leary?
Yes, Dennis Leary. No, that's not Chicago Fire. I did enjoy the program he was on, Burn Me or something.
Something like that, yeah. Burn Notice Me.
Yeah, Burn Notice You and Burn Victim, CSI. A very funny part just happened. They had the Save the Cheerleader Guy is their go-to forensic scientist who's really quirky and nerdy and everything. You know who I mean? The
same character that's in all these shows?
Well, but he's actually the guy from that show Heroes. Is that the name
I don't
of
watch
that?
it. I don't watch the show.
Well, it's
show.
It's a long time over.
Yeah,
but
it's coming back, I hear.
What? It's another stupid show where I can use more than 10% of my brain. Well, the writers definitely can't use more than 10%. But anyway, the guy that says...
I just want to touch 10% of Scarlett Johansson's ass.
Oh, man, I'll touch any 10%. I don't care what it is. Elbow, anything. I'll bite her teeth. Not cheating.
Call back.
Yeah, you know what? We're getting way too long into this part, but I just have to mention that the original Save the Cheerleader Guy is the forensic scientists in there, and they had a guest star that was helping out, maybe from the FBI or something, that was one of the other characters from it, the more regular looking guy from Heroes. And when they met, the Save the Cheerleader guys was like, I think we've met before. I can't remember where we met, but I know you. I know you from someplace. And the other guy was like, no, you don't know me. We've never met. And he kept pushing that he knew this guy from somewhere. So
that's funny.
I think, they didn't go overboard with it. They really played it for the truth, not the guffaw. And it was well welcomed in this series. Not the best series, but because it has so many guest stars and stars from other programs I really liked, that's why I sort of stick with that.
100% game talk, no filler. And
really good underplot. And I just started getting into Elementary, so I've been watching that from the beginning because Lucy Lou no-sells me on the Twitter, even though she lives in New York, and I could help with her giant fucking silkscreen artwork that she does. She's in a bubble, and she thinks that her shape art is aesthetically pleasing. And initially it was, but now she's in such a bubble that her layouts are really falling apart.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
Oh, man. And I mean, you have never seen a screen this big. And you know how much that shit costs.
Oh, yeah.
And she'll just dump a whole gallon of paint on each stroke. And I mean, it's kind of neat that she's doing it all by hand and everything. But, you know, you need two people to move the squeegee over it. Yeah. So, I mean, it's really cool stuff. But I think I could add my sense of graphic arts, especially if you see the album art for Pick of the Bucks. You know, I have an eye for graphic design. Yeah. Those are the funniest things for me to make because they're just so terrible.
I like to see who's taped over my face.
Yeah, I mean, that's just so funny to make. But anyway, we got a great game today coming out of Pac Month.
Yeah, should we do that first? Should we announce the winners of the Pac Month contest?
We're going to do that first, but I got to say how strong I think we're going to come out of Pac Month. Pac Month was a huge success. A lot of people joined in, and we had 2 contests going for Ron Guyet's painting. The gold one, only a limited edition to 100. And I got to tell you, because I just jonesed out for this so much, I actually bought the painting.
Did you?
And I bought the special edition gold one instead of the blue one. I just received it on Friday, and wow, it's beautiful. Yeah, I had to.
2 lucky people, 2 lucky listeners of the show are about to find out that they too have won one of these posters.
I mean, I didn't eat for 3 days to save up my lunch allowance at school. But here we go. So, unfortunately, TT Schmootkins is going to pick this using her Peony Ackerai Rob 48 Blapperass G2000. However, I have told her that she is not going to do this twice, one for the Twitter winner, one for the Facebook winner. She's going to do both of them at the same time because of how fucking long she does this. We're almost halfway through the program, and we got to talk about this great game. TT Schmootkins, please come in here and give us our 2 randomly generated names from your Peony Ackerai Rob 48 Blapperass G2000.
Hello, my name is TT Schmootkins. I will be choosing the winner of the We Talk Games Video Power Magazine Pac Month Waka 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 Twitter and Facebook challenge using my Pennsylvanian Electronic Numerical Integrator Computerized RISC IEEE 48 Gigaflops Blast Processor Emulator and an adjective. Subject Service Generator, also known as the Rosenstein's Information Technology and Enriched Elbow Macaroni, We Talk Games, Committee for Podcast Conformity and Listener Integration, Peony Ackerai Rob 48 Blapperass G2000. Here I go.
Just give us a number. 3821. There you go. And then we have that winner. There's another number, 35. How about that? Okay, here comes the winner.
The winner of the Ron Guyet poster is...
Oh, she keeps doing that!
I hate the false ending. You can't truncate this at all, huh?
No, she needs to run through the process.
Awesome.
Did you understand it?
It sounded like she said it 2 names together.
She did say 2 names together. What?
I definitely heard M. Carp.
Okay.
Did you hear the other one?
No. Awesome at the end. So the only other guy, I know one guy that's name was Awesome, but he's dead. So I have to think it's Matt Awesome? Matthew?
Yeah, I think you're correct.
Yeah.
I think it's M. Carp on Twitter and Matt Awesome on Facebook.
Yeah, 2
Congratulations,
M's.
guys.
M. Carp. I tried to catch him the other day, and he went tick, tick, and then he got out.
Ah.
Fucker.
I hate
Hey,
when
well,
that happens.
This is big deal. Congratulations.
We'll be reaching out to you this week, and we'll get you connected with Ron Guyet, and we'll get your posters to you.
Man, wait till you see these things. They're beautiful.
Thanks for participating, everybody. 8-Bit Geek, you guys are awesome. Ron Guyet, thank you again for your donation. The Retro League, and everybody else on Twitter and Facebook who came out and supported this event. We look forward to the next one.
A lot more podcasts did too, and just snuck them into their shows. We didn't even find out about them until later and stuff like that. So, kind of neat. And some they called it Pac March.
Yeah,
Pac
Robo-Duke put up some a great video.
Oh, he did.
Of a game that we never shut up about, which is the Bat Pack game.
Yeah.
TG16.
Yeah, which actually less like Pac-Man than I thought. Than what I remembered. But I mean, when I opened it up, that's what I thought. It's fucking Pac-Man. It is a little bit like Bomberman, a little bit like Pac-Man. You're definitely in Pac-Man mazes, and at the end, you're just in
that last battle. My goodness.
You're just in an empty arena like Bomberman, and the Joker is fucking fat ass Joker from first movie, Jack Nicholson. Worst person to pick for skinny. I mean, the Joker is the most gaunt person in the entire Batman comic book, unless you consider elongated man, or who the fuck cares? Because we're going to talk about Hoccer. Hoccer, 1983 by Eastern Microelectronics, or EME, I think was their title at the bottom that stays there with the date. Copyright on the screen the entire time. And on the name scale, this fits right below Guzzler and right above Wiping. So, Guzzler, Hoccer, Wiping. Something happens there. That's magic.
The trifecta of disgustingness.
I brought up Hoccer, and it's spelled Hoccer. I brought up Hoccer during Sportuary, but you most likely do not remember that because I hypnotized you into forgetting right afterwards. The title screen in Hoccer will immediately deceive you into thinking that it's a straight-up hockey game because there's a goalie mask, a puck, and a goalie stick, all of which are unmutated versions of their actual counterparts in the game of Hoccer.
Let me just preface this review with this.
Yes.
I wanted to hate this game.
Sure.
I mean, I saw the title screen and I saw a screenshot of the game and I was like, why is Wiggly making me play another fucked up game?
Not only that, but I thought we would get nothing out of this game. I actually had another game lined up in the queue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, originally we were going to do 2 games because we thought this game wouldn't be enough, but surprisingly, this game's got some substance to it.
Yeah. You're roboting out.
There goes that telephone, just ringing all the time. Better pick
whoops.
it up.
Jeez, I don't know what I'm doing here. How do I answer? Oh, there it is. Okay. This came out in 1983, so I'll get into making mechanics in a little while, but I first want to give a slight explanation of the game. It's a vertical game, which is wonderful. The screen is full screen open rink area, I guess we'll call it. There are spinner gates peppered either vertically or horizontally in the rink. They are the most obvious targets in the screen. When you start playing this, you'll think, that's what I do. Try to push my puck through these spinner gates.
Yeah.
The main net is part of the top wall, and it will move back and forth across the top wall. You can also score into that net. When you score into the top net, your opposing team will momentarily stand in place. They'll still be marching, but they'll stand in place, at which point you can sweep them into the walls or gates. The left and right sides of the rink are star blocks, which if you clear them during the course of your quarter's worth game, so they stay depleted. They don't reset the stars, because that would be impossible to clean them in one half. You will be rewarded an extra life. And I mentioned sweeping because you do not use a hockey stick, as implied by the title screen. You have this broom.
Yeah, it's kind of like a shuffle puck.
Curling.
Am I saying that right? Yes.
Shuffleboard.
Shuffleboard.
Yeah.
It's like I got that vibe from it, like a shuffleboard stick.
Definitely, but it does push your opponents back, and they can push you back into the walls, and that will. Number one, you're supposed to be a human, and I'll talk about that. And they're supposed to be robots, so they explode. But they
don't look like robots, though.
No, they don't. You know what? They look like the colony from Chikara. They look like soldier ant or fire ant, which is very satisfying.
I got a luchador vibe from them because it does look like they're wearing lucha masks.
They are, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And they got horns, so that's a perfect pull.
Exactly. So you use that to sweep and fire the puck or sweep your opponents, and that's the basics. Here comes my making mechanics. It's pretty short. I bring up 10-Yard Fight again, 1983 by Irem, and that's the same year as Hoccer. And I think these two titles actually share some of the same game approaches, although completely different sports, including most elements being somewhat different. But it gives me a one against a team feeling, although you have a real team in 10-Yard Fight, and you can pass and you can lateral and you can do things like that.
I get what you're saying, and I see the connection because 10-Yard Fight is a sports game, quote unquote, but it's got a lot of arcade dumped into it.
Yes.
And this is kind of a sports game, quote unquote, but it has a lot of arcade dumped into it as well. And I even wrote down it has a little bit of a pinball element about it with the drop targets and the spinner targets. Not that it's a pinball game or not that it's a sports game, but this amalgam is what makes this game. And the same thing with 10-Yard Fight. That's not what you'd expect from a football game, especially today. But it technically is a sports game. It's technically a football game.
I think they're both highly evolved versions of Pong even.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Really, I mean, really highly evolved. They're way above Breakout, which was like Pong, single-player Pong. But
Pong is in their DNA, without a doubt.
The other thing that reminded me a little bit of 10-Yard Fight is the different classes. Like in 10-Yard Fight, you have high school, college, professional, playoffs, and then a Super Bowl, and you have sort of that same thing. And then the only other thing I really have written down here is, of course, Bill Lambier's Combat Basketball, 1991 by Hudson.
That's mandatory now, though, right?
For
With
Super
team,
Nintendo.
we have to write that.
Anytime it's a sports-like, it has to have a Bill Lambier tie-in. And it really is, because you're top-down in Bill Lambier and you're top-down in this.
Well, there's a lot of punching in the mouth, too.
Yeah.
You know, you're
and
fighting,
sweeping in the mouth.
You're playing dirty. Sweep in the mouth.
Watch the attract screen. That's my making mechanic. So watch the attract screen, and it will show you the game's scoring elements, every one of them. And it will also show you the speed and strategy of what a typical gameplay should look like. So when you first start, like I said, you might just think you're supposed to fire the puck through the spinners.
Yeah.
But it will show you every scoring method. It will show you how you can destroy your enemies with the ball or by sweeping them into a wall, or you get swept into the gate, which is one of the most satisfying things, I think, when your character, who is Andrew.
Yeah.
Why bother to name this character? No idea. But when you get slapped into a gate, it's as if your neck is breaking. And I don't know how they can convey that with such basic type of pixel-looking dudes, but for some reason, I think that it looks like your neck's breaking and you do a breakdancing death move.
Graphically, this reminds me of a lot of early NES games or Famicom games.
Yeah.
With its presentation. And like I said, I really wanted to hate this game. I really thought I was being set up for a bad game here. But it's not. It's a good game. And although the graphics are, like you said, simplistic, it reminded me of ice hockey for the NES. And as we know, I have an affection toward that game. So the graphics I grew to like while I was playing this game. If you think of ice hockey on the Nintendo, the graphics are very similar. You got squatty, pixelated little dudes. And because they're small, there's a lot of screen real estate for the field. It's unclear, and I've seen conflicting reports whether or not you're on ice. Because it's a black screen with the team's logo painted in the center. So when you fight the Hawks, there's a giant hawk on the center of the screen. Or when you go with the Wolves, there's a giant wolf head on the center of the screen.
And they're beautiful. The Griffin is supposed to be a dragon, but really nice. And you're always the away team, the away one person.
Well, Andrew is a one-man team.
Right.
I don't know if you saw that in the track scene. So he's climbing the ranks of this fictional sport. Winning trophies.
Yes. So it's you against the world, or at least the other Hoccer teams. And there are Hoccer teams, although they're only composed of the two robots, Ord and Klee. Once again, they have to name those guys. No idea.
For some reason. For the amiibos.
Yeah.
Ords are the grunts. They punch you in the face and try to hit you into the boards. And Klee is the team captain, and he has the ability to shoot the puck.
Right. So he can grab the puck.
I think he has a stick, too, if I remember his sprite.
I think they all have brooms. I could be wrong.
I don't think the Ords do. I think the
Okay.
Ords just have the I'm sorry, big fist in the head.
Okay.
Mechanic.
The different team names will also put Ord and Klee in the different colored jerseys. So you could think of yourself as the one-man Harlem Globetrotters taking on the Washington Generals every night, I think.
Definitely.
Each level is called a half.
There's two halves in Hoccer.
Two halves in Hoccer, and you go to semifinals and all that. And the amount of players on the opposing team can be from 3 to 5, I think. If you choose the minor leagues, it's 3. If you choose the All-Star League, it's 5.
Right.
And then there's also a major league in the middle of that, which I think you should either do minor or All-Star. Definitely start at minor, understand what you can do. Then I think it was much more fun to play the All-Star League. It's really, really fast, but you'll soon eclipse any high score that you've ever had. And once you get that pace down, sort of like how you play Miss Pac-Man, except there's no maze involved, but it is set to that 4-player type of area. You know what I mean? 4-player joystick type area.
There's a good snap to grid with the opponents, so you'll be able to recognize, how you can get around them relatively quickly. Like you said, there aren't a lot of obstacles in the field, but I do see that maze chase sort of moment of zen where you get so familiar with the game, like Miss Pac-Man with me, where you're so familiar with the game and it triggers this part of your brain where you can play at such a high speed. With us just talking about the game, this is the one drawback for the game. It doesn't do a great job at telling you what you're supposed to be doing to progress. But because you're listening to the show, and I would recommend playing this game, now you're even a step ahead of probably where Wiggly was and where I definitely was. Because at first, like you said, I was shooting for the targets, and then I'm like, do I go for the net? Am I supposed to fight these bad guys? What am I supposed to be doing?
Right.
But you do learn it, and if you started the minor league, it's this great inclination of difficulty.
Yeah, because even the first screen, you don't get Klee. Is Klee the one that's the team captain or Ord? I can't remember.
Ord is the grunt, and I can confirm. Ord is a grunt. He does not have a stick, but he does punch.
Oh.
Klee has a stick and can fire back at you.
Right.
And what makes that troubling for you is when he fires back at you, if you get hit by the puck, you're out.
Right.
Because it's like a supercharge.
You can hit it back,
You can
though.
catch it, yeah.
Yeah, right. The amount of opponents that will be left, you'll keep getting these. It's not just 3 against 5. There's going to be multiple times that they come out of their locker room entrances that are on both sides of the screen at the top. So you'll have this indicator of dots across the upper right of the screen that tells you how many more enemies you have to defeat. I'll call them enemies instead of team members. And then the last member of the team actually has the DDS syndrome, the Dig Dug syndrome.
Yes, I wrote that down as well.
And he will try to escape back to the locker room if he's the only one left on there. To explode Ord and Klee, because they are robots, you can fire, even though they look like humans.
They look humans. They got human flesh going on, but...
Yeah. You can fire your puck at them or sweep them into the walls or the gates, as I mentioned. And all the while, you're trying to score by hockering the puck through the spinners or into the wall star blocks, which you can combo point the wall star blocks up. If you hit one wall star block and then a star block and then another one star block, another star block, your points will keep increasing. What happened?
It's just turned into a drink. It's just turned into a drinking game. Every time he says star block, take a shot of tequila. You'll be dead by the end of this episode.
Or you can score a goal. As I mentioned, the goal moves back and forth. And when you're in all-star mode, the goal is almost just bouncing from right to left. It takes a small stop. And the spinners, you can also be comboed. So you hit one spinner, and then you hit another spinner, and then you hit another spinner. This is supposed to be another part of the drinking game. And I'm not sure.
Or you hit Ord through the spinner.
Yeah.
Or you hit the spinner first and then hit Ord. What I like about this game, and again, it's of its era, it's all about points, and there's a lot of opportunities for point multipliers. And for me, I like that. I like that element in old arcade games. So again, I wanted to hate this game, but every time I turn around, there was a new thing about it. I'm like, hey, this is pretty clever, and this is pretty deep, and I like this. There's different ways to play this game. There's different ways to approach it. I think that's what gives it a nice replay value. Like, I would revisit this game again.
Oh, yeah. I played this after I played some of the other games that we have on the run sheet. I went back to this. And like you mentioned, the layout of the rink leads to some really satisfying multi-attacks. The upper left spinner is horizontal to the rest of the screen, so you can actually fire the puck through the spinner and into the goal if the goal is in back of it. And if some of the opposing team is also in line with that, you can hit the opposing team through the spinner, through more opposing team, into the goal, and you're like, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
This is a real arcade game. I'm surprised that we've never seen this before. I have to assume it's because it was created by Eastern Microelectronics.
Yeah. Weeks ago, we talked about how some games would get a rehash on the Game Boy and be a little bit better, or get a rehash on the console and be a little bit better. I feel like sadly, this is going to get lost to the history of the arcade, but it really would have benefited from just a graphical improvement. That's it. Like, you could keep the game mechanics and everything the same. If you would have gave it a little bit of that 16-bit polish, I think it would have been a popular game or a successful game. But, you know, Eastern Microelectronics, I don't think I ever saw in an arcade, and I certainly never saw a Hoccer cabinet.
No. I think it might have been Japan only, although everything's in English.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. The other thing about this is that I know it's simplistic graphics, but the graphics match the style of game it is. And I've never seen all of these elements combined into one game. I can't think of one game that, as you're famous to say, hits the notes. I almost have to pay royalties on that. Hits the notes of what you do in this game. And I've played a lot of wacky mashup sports games. One of my favorite being for the 3DO, the Battle Arena.
Battle Arena Toshinden, baseball.
That's it. Now you're a spaceship hovering around, and you try to score soccer, and you can also shoot people and stuff like that.
Soccer Invaders. I'm not helping you.
That's exactly what it is.
Sorry.
Soccer Invaders. No, and there was also another game like that for the ColecoVision, and actually the Atari 5200 had it, and I was like, oh my God, the scrolling is unbelievable. So there's two games that slipped my mind.
I think I might be familiar with this game, but I'm not going to hold this up trying to figure it out.
No, but in the 3DO one, you can hit ramps and do all these. It's sort of like a first-person good version of Twisted Metal. I never really liked Twisted Metal.
No.
I played it. I played Twisted Metal Black. I liked it, but I never thought it was. What was that one?
Not Black, but Twisted Metal 2. A lot of father-son bonding between me and my dad. We played that game a lot. We put that on, and we play Beck Odelay, the album, on loop. And we would just fight each other and listen to that album for some reason. And it was awesome. It was a great, Thursday night activity.
Sure. There was another game that came out where you could be like a school bus and stuff like that, and I really liked that game, and I can't remember the name of it. It came out for the N64, and I think also the PlayStation 1. But I'm just in no mindset to remember any names of any games outside of Hoccer. Hoccer has just blown my mind.
Because it was surprisingly good.
Surprisingly good.
Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge this game by a screenshot. I'm here to tell you, everybody who listens to this program should try this game, because if you're not a sports fan, guess what? It ain't a sports game.
No,
if you are a sports fan, it's got a little bit of sports in there. You're going to like it. It's got something for everybody. And if you like that arcadey feel of an old arcade game, this hits those notes. It is like a classic arcade game that just suffers from being from an obscure developer.
And that age, but I'm glad it's at that age because it plays like an arcade game that you want to complete. You get scored on points. Yeah. Even though you're playing halves, there's a point score. There's a level. Right. There's a level even though you're doing halves, which is kind of really weird. So we had the great Pac-Man giveaway at the
Waka, 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 waka!
And a really neat game that we rushed through, but I think you get the impression of it. Like you mentioned, it has something for everybody and nothing for nobody.
Right.
So here's this. And now here's TT Schmootkins with next week's We Talk Games Video Power Magazine Arcade Weekly Arcade Game Audio Clue.
Hello, I am TT Schmootkins. Here is next week's We Talk Games Video Power Magazine Arcade Weekly Arcade Game Audio Clue. Good luck, dudes.
What's your clue for next week's game? Is this weekly?
It is weekly.
Holy shit. I thought this was a monthly show. Christ.
My hint for next week is, I don't care if she smells like Teen Spirit. I'm burying my face in those things.
Okay. Mine is Baby God Died for You.
No.
Yes. Yes, it is. Because I honestly thought Baby God Died for You is the thing that
because
that
of
person
you, that's
said.
all I can hear now when I play that game.
Like
Baby God Died for You.
Like you gave the real words of what that was, and here I am thinking that's what they said the entire thing. But I'm going to say it on this one because there is actually a baby that you can murder on this game. So stay tuned for that. Wait, don't be a jerk all the time. I hope you like us. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Our enemies are innovative and resourceful, and so are we. They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we. My lawyer is a Latino.
Beak.